they haven't paid their talents for any reason at all. They have the money, or at least they should, and in case on this case, they do, and they just haven't gave them anything, which is wild, and she ended up quitting on stream, literally, so good for her. But honestly, as I kind of just look through a lot of the news that is out there and basically kind of just really see what's actually happening, it just infuriates me. It infuriates me on a fair amount of levels and towards everything, right? And I'm not gonna necessarily drag too hard on, individuals at all, like talent for sure, that hard. But there is definitely some things I would like to say. Number one, for the company, y'all are mad gay, bro. This is like the weakest thing that y'all could possibly have ever done, right? There is no timeline in any sort of instance unless you are just having the ultimate connections and you have all the power in the universe. There ain't no damn way you steal money from an actual, like, charity organization and get away with it cleanly. There's no way. People probably do that all the time, but there ain't no way. You ain't one of those people, sir. You are very much getting cooked by everybody, and you deserve that for sure. I'm honestly kind of stunned at this, because it's like, how the hell has no one said anything, even internally? I know there is some people in that staff that is not necessarily that good at keeping secrets. Somebody is loose-lipped out there for certain, and somebody probably already knew what was going on for sure and could have said something, but just absolutely didn't. And that junk just, I don't know, it just very much annoys me to no end. Like, the fact that they got away with that for so long and for doing so many different things, it's just like, how has this gone on for so much of time, right? Like, literally, as the amounts of, like, I guess, like, lingering shadows in the closets of these shoujo kind of get built up over time that people can obviously see, it definitely starts to make a lot of sense. Like I said, the hacker thing with Nux talking, whatever, the doxer, whatever. You had, like, the whole instance of people trying to sign up for auditions, but obviously they're not really trying to get regular people. They're trying to get the most already known people, which is just straight up lying to the people that wanted to support VShojo or be a part of it at one point in time. And just like, there's just so much about that company that was just wrong and not necessarily good whatsoever. And it really just, once again, kind of just shows you that the corpo side of YouTube is very much not a nice place. Which, granted, it wasn't nice from beginning at the start, if we're gonna be honest. Like, yes, sure, you can very much say that, oh, but Hololive did it great in the beginning, and yes, they do fine, but also I wouldn't be surprised if there's some messed up darkness at Hololive either, right? This is the realistic ideals of just how a company is. They care about the money. They don't really give a shit about the talent at all, right? As someone that has been watching, wrestling is going to correlate this to as an example. How WWE got owned by TKO recently? Well, they just release people just because they can. They did that shit to R-Truth. They had to bring them back because people were losing their damn minds. And they found out, oh, that's a bad call. So they had no choice but to bring them back. But ultimately, they wouldn't have continued to let them go because of money. That is kind of the era of WWE right now. They literally are about the money. TKO is more than the actual content that's getting put up there, which is really corporate and a bit shit at times. Let's be real. At the end of the day, a business is here for money. They're not really here for their people, unless you're just, the most different sort of business person ever, right? But that's far and few between, where they're not necessarily going to concern themselves with money to the highest extent, because most people actually do. But with all this drama now, like, coming to light, lots of other people have started to talk about, certain elements of VShojo, not necessarily liking certain people or not getting paid from all this sort of stuff. And once again, and maybe this is because of legal proceedings and, legality of what people can and can't say and all this sort of stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, if you are able to This is why you say stuff. This is why you end up just speaking your actual mind. This is, I ain't gonna lie, this is probably the reason why I couldn't be a part of no corporation, if I'm gonna be honest, in terms like VTubing especially. It is because if I find some shit that's wrong, and I find something that absolutely needs to be called out for, I would very much sit here and call that out, right? I'm a person that likes to speak their mind. If I see something that I like, I will talk about it. If I see something that I despise and needs to be talked about, then I will bring it up. I don't hold back my words for basically anybody, right? If I just don't like something, I don't like something. That's just how it is. And if I was a part of that company, much less if I knew, that there was something weird going on around there, I would do something to at least get the information out that's like, yo, this shit's mad ass. This shit is just kinda not it right now. Especially in terms of talent's not getting paid. Because first of all, I'm not gonna lie, if you ain't paying me for my money, the hell I gotta obey you for, right? Like, yeah, sure, there's a contract, but you're not even upholding your end of the deal, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's just kind of crazy. It's like if your wife were to cook some chicken and then you find out she didn't season. No, divorce papers, sign them immediately. And like I said before, again, this could also be just because of legality and all that sort of stuff too, which at times really makes me hate legality when it comes down to not saying certain things. Kind of like how Iron Mouse yesterday was kind of talking about how she can't say everything that she really wants to say. Really annoying. Not gonna sit here and lie. I get why, but really annoying. Just gonna be honest. Because if they was like this for the longest of time, somebody should have been said something. That's really all I got to say about that. And now let me turn my attention to the talent in a way, because I'm not gonna sit here and lie. The way that a lot of these ladies describe, like, their working arrangement and all this sort of stuff, and how they kind of thought about VShojo, how they trusted the company, how they basically, thinking that the company had their best interests and stuff like that. I'm gonna be absolutely honest, that is a very foolish and naive way of thinking, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't trust people. You don't. Especially when money's involved. You don't trust people. You don't trust, like a company at all, right? Unless that company has proven, or the people has proven time and time again that they have done the right thing by you, then for sure, then yes, you could definitely maybe say there's a little bit, slight bit, 1% level of trust there. But if it's not necessarily the case, if that's literally how it is, if it's just a straight up GG's, they never proved anything to you at all, or they haven't done so in a long ass time, then that is a GG's, no heels, you're absolutely cooked. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, ain't no damn way you sit here, you ride with this company, and then you absolutely believe every bit and part of the working pieces of it to do the right thing. There is absolutely no way. It's like you try to slap on some flex tape on top of a damn building that's about to start crumbling down and falling on pedestrians. Yeah, slap on that flex tape. I fully believe that, because that's just not how that works. That's never been how that works. Right? At the end of the day, it's about self, right? It's going to sound very crazy and selfish, but it's about self when it comes down to these companies and about these businesses and all that sort of stuff, right? They do what they do for them, not because of you. At the end of the day, you are lending your talents to these people. You do not necessarily have to be there. And hopefully for a lot of indie people, right, which I already would assume they probably know this, but you don't need a company. You don't need a corporation to be, joined up with, because at the end of the damn day, they don't give two shits about you. And I think this pretty much proves it. If there wasn't already examples as it is, this pretty much would prove it. Yes, you will get a nice little boost to it. Yes, you'll get your audience to grow and, finally get maybe some things taken care of in your personal life. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, for the long run, this shit just don't feel worth it. At the long run, you would have a better chance building your own damn audience over your genuine realness versus actually being a part of a group of people and things like that, right? Because at the end of the day, every single VShojo group, or every single, Niji Sanji ass group, or anybody really, has failed in some shape and form, and this is one of those worst offenders, quite literally next to a Niji Sanji, if I'm gonna be honest. And I'm just gonna be real, and this is just more of a personal thing for me. This is why half the time I don't really pay attention to a lot of YouTubers anymore. Because at the end of the day, it's mainly just one, corporations that's just trying to sell you, an idea of a person, and half the time you don't even know if it's really, the person, just playing the role of whatever character they're cosplaying as virtually, or it's actually them, and you should actually, really sit there and care, or if this is just actually people getting misled, or their talents being abused in some shape or form and no one just saying anything. Again, speaking up and speaking out is very much a reasonable, understandable thing to do. Again, legal proceedings, I understand that, but if you can effing say something, or if you think some shady shit could go down, question some things, because at the end of the day, like I said before, these companies, these businesses, they don't have your best interests at heart. They won't. They just don't do it, and they never will. That is literally how it is. So again, I'm not trying to rag on the talent. I ain't trying to rag on anybody in particular when it comes down to how they believe the company and all that sort of stuff. But it is just, I would imagine it's common sense to think, yeah, this is a business at the end of the day. This is people trying to get money whatever way they could, and at the end of the day they could do some dumb shit and they could F you over in all sorts of ways. So very much be on my P's and Q's, but they got caught lacking. Let's just be real, they very much got caught lacking when it comes down to them getting paid, down to the staff, taking money where they shouldn't take money from, and all that sort of stuff. Basically being weird with how they do auditions and things like that, where it goes down to personal information getting, doxed out there and everything like that. The creepy ass staff, from what I heard, and all that sort of stuff. The kind of people that they surround themselves with. There's just a lot to it that's very much not good whatsoever. And every time something like this happens, and you have people that works with those companies that do have a degree of belief within that company, it's kind of crazy, it's kind of weird, and it's kind of crazy, and it's just like, again, a be careful sort of mentality is very much needed there. And just to kind of, I guess, go a little bit more in on the corporate mentality of how you should think about a corporation, my words to you is always have an exit ready. Because let's just be real, there's always going to be something weird that happens to you. You could be let go, you could be very much betrayed by the company, doesn't necessarily matter. You could be sick or ill and you might have to dip off and leave. Whatever the reason is, you always have an exit ready to go, because at the end of the day, what you're doing, it's not going to be a forever sort of thing, right? You don't know what time it's going to happen, you don't know when it's going to come through, but you always have an exit ready. The expectation that you're not going to be there always and all the time should very much be on the forefront of the back of your mind, because at the end of the day, you could very much get screwed, just like a lot of these ladies have been, because that's just how their corporation really was. That's just how it is at the end of the day for them. Because realistically, like I said before, if you ain't money yourself, if you ain't really bringing it in, and if you're not necessarily just being about the money, they'll dip you off on that sort of front. And at the very same time, if they have literally been screwing you over multiple times and they haven't gotten any repercussion over it or face any consequences of it, then yes, very much call them out, very much say something about it if you can. Because at the end of the day, there is no reason why any company, any person, any crackhead individual should go out their way to screw over anybody as a whole. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to do things that we do to enjoy, much less do things so we don't necessarily have to go through a hard ass time through life. That is literally what a lot of these people are just trying to do. And then here goes this bum ass corporation of people come through, taking money that doesn't belong to them, withholding money that they should already be giving for whatever crack ass addiction that they probably trying to do. I don't know what it is, but they definitely been also crackhead ass timing for sure. But yeah, man, just literally, I guess that for me personally, just like, yeah, this is why I'm kind of fine with kind of building shit up on your own. Because at the end of the day, one, at least you could be yourself Two, you can necessarily just have your real, genuine, honest self being with your community that actually care about you, and not necessarily, trying to fake yourself, trying to be, I guess, like in a group or whatever. I'm not saying that's what they've been doing, but I'm just saying that, that could be realistically a part of some of these companies as a whole, because at the end of the day, you are again trying to sell merch of your character, trying to sell, the idea of the brand and stuff like that, when in reality sometimes these brand things do not have your best interest at heart. I'm not saying every single company or every single brand is absolutely cruel as shit or anything like that, but again, having that exit strategy and having that mentality that, okay, these people on the high end do not give two shits about me. As long as I keep making money for them, that's really all that matters. And we kind of have that mutual respect at the end of the damn day, right? Because if I was in that position, damn a contract, honestly, or damn whatever, I'm very much going to, speak out and say something, even if it's on the sly or whatever, because ain't no damn way you hold my damn money from October or November or whatever all the way to now, and you still haven't done anything. And that's just how it's been. Like, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, I can understand, but after that point, nah, I'm saying something. There ain't no damn way. There is literally no damn way whatsoever, and people should have the right to know about something like that. So at the end of the day, let's go ahead and cancel this problem before it gets way worse and way shittier, because clearly you're not necessarily doing your job as a company to help out your talent in the ways that you should, right? Again, VShojo is just a weird ass mess. It has always been. It started to be a weird mess in the beginning, and it has ended to be a weird mess in the beginning, or at least at the end. And that's just how they is. That's just how they is, and it's always been weird. And they will really just die off being weird. That's just how it is. But yeah, I just really wanted to yap about this. As more people leave, they're gonna basically say their responses and stuff like that too, which isn't gonna come off as a giant surprise. And just at the end of the day, really, just if you get anything from this video, obviously, if you work for a company, again, always have an exit strategy just in your mind, because again, this shit is not gonna last forever. It never really does. And at the end of the day, keep in mind that the company is not going to have your best interest at heart. You will feel less pain, and you'll feel less heartache and tears and things of sort like that if you have the lowest expectations of your company and of people around you when money is involved. Really, just in life in general. If you have low expectations of people, you'll never be disappointed. That's why I'm not disappointed in this, or at least I am disappointed in this situation, but I'm not overly emotionally like super sad. More angry, but not like overly sad or, on that feels bad type of energy or anything like that. Because you know why? I expect people to be like this. And if you expect people to be like this, then I promise you, you will feel less heartache. I promise you that. There's one more thing I actually need to add to this conversation. VTubers, people in general, for the love of everything, please know your worth. Literally, there is no reason at all you should feel like this is the end for you, or this is how it is, and you don't really feel strong afterwards, or you don't really feel confident in yourself of what you're doing. Literally, have that confidence. Just force yourself to have that, because I'm gonna be real with you. Knowing your worth is by far one of the most important things that you can absolutely have. You want to know the reason as to why I feel like I am the way I am, or why I do things the way I do things, and think of myself in a higher, not, I will say like a prideful way, but a higher way? It's because I know what I'm worth, right? Because at the end of the day, like this channel, for example, this channel should be way bigger than what it casually is, and way more views than where it should go to, right? Not because I deserve that sort of thing, because that should just be something that is earned, but at the end of the day, it's because I know my dang worth. I know where this channel should be able to go. I can say it without any hesitation, because I know what I can do here, right? If I feel like there's a limit that I can't reach, that because I haven't been able to see it for myself or feel it for myself. But at the end of the day, knowing what your worth is 10 million times more valuable for you to have as a person, as a quality as a person, instead of just, not really thinking you're much of anything. Oh, you didn't really think that this could happen, or whether it's good or bad. Know your freaking worth. Honestly, if you knew your worth, I promise you, you would be feeling a lot better, and you would honestly be ready to jump up to the next thing. That is how it should be for you, or at least you should have that courage to have that sort of feeling inside yourself if you're not gonna, admit out loud that that's just how it is. So know your freaking worth. But yeah, that's just how it is. And in the time when people actually do something beyond the means of what you actually thought, you'll be pleasantly surprised, and you'll have a little bit more faith in humanity than, what casually is out there. But that's, again, all I really wanted to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.